please make sure these people are like good for you, because I know there's a lot of people that I let into my safe space that like I can't get them out, and I don't know how to, because I don't want to be that mean person. Cause
What were what happened to make this space feel more comfortable for you?
it wasn't something that happened at school. It was just something that I dealt with within myself, because I used to deal with a lot of anxiety last year. And then over the summer, I kind of, especially with meeting you guys here at Start Strong for my first time, meeting new people, being introduced to new people on like, well, I was going to bring up this, like, what if instances where you're not like, where your safe space is. Like, say if I'm like out somewhere and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I guess I could just go home, huh?
But right, like what if it's like on the fly, right? Like you just need a moment. Where do you go?
Or you could
What do you
like
think
pull
makes that
things
relax?
that you learn from your like space and like use them in situations where you feel like uncomfortable.
Welcome to season 4 of the Real Love, Real Talk podcast. We're glad to have you back. On this season, you can expect conversations led by our young people around various topics within the conversations of teen dating violence awareness and healthy relationship promotion. Some audience may find this subject matter triggering. We encourage you to reach out to a trusted adult, family member, or friend. You can always find additional resources in our show notes or on our website, thehallsboston.com. Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm 15 years old and I use she, her pronouns, and I am in the 10th grade. I'm going to pass it off to Brekna to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Brekna. I'm 16 years old. I'm in the 10th grade and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm going to pass it on to Janae to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Janae. I use she, her pronouns. I am the program manager for Start Strong. And today we are going to be talking about safe spaces, how to maintain them, how to manage them, and also thinking about like how to define them as well. And I'll pass it off to Jazz to introduce our first topic.
So for our first topic, we'll be talking about defining safe spaces, which is really important for, young teens or even adults to like have these places that they know where they can go. Because I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, they don't have these designated places for them, or they feel like they don't have these designated places for them.
What's our first question?
So our first question is, what is required for a safe space?
What y'all think?
I think most importantly, a safe space, you have to feel comfortable, and it has to be like you create it. It's not like someone else makes it for you, and you have to like feel respected, and yeah, you have to feel included as well.
What about you, Jazz?
I think having that space, like creating that space, like what you said, but also having certain people in that space, if you choose, like if you don't want to have people in your safe space, you don't have to, but having people be there to support you as well in your safe space.
I like that. You guys bring in comfortability, also naming that sometimes like people can influence your safe space and how comfortable you can be around them. I like that. I don't think I have anything to add. What's our next question?
Okay. Our next question is, how does a safe space differ from your home, or does it?
I think a home is like, you don't really have a choice. You don't create it. It's just like where you live and like you're surrounded by your family. But a safe space is like you create it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like an actual like physical place. It can be like just anywhere that you feel comfortable.
Do you think though, when you mean you don't create your home, is it like that's the one that you're born into, right?
Yeah,
like you don't.
Yeah, that's for me. Like I define a home as like just where you live with your family.
That makes sense. And a safe space is something that you kind of create individually of that.
Yeah, I think a safe space, you create it, you'd like set your own boundaries and you like decide who you want in your safe space, similar to what Jazz said.
Can you have safe spaces in your home?
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Okay.
not everyone might like feel that their home is a safe space. But yeah, some people might. So it just depends on how you feel.
Right, like they don't go hand in hand with each other. This kind of adds on to our first one, but is there any safe spaces in like for us school or for like you, like your community where you live?
I don't know a safe space in my community, actually. Granted, I just moved, so like that's an impact, but it's like going out and finding that, like besides the local library that I can think of, I don't know.
I can think of like two. For me at school, like a club, like Asian Culture Club, I'm part of that. And I feel like that is a safe space for me because like I'm surrounded by people who are like I can relate to and who are like similar to me. And I was also gonna say like start strong here. In a way, this is a safe space for me too because I can talk to like other younger kids my age and just learn together.
What about you at school?
I love school. As much as I like hate the work from school, like school for me is a safe space. Like I don't really like being at home. I like to be at school because all of my friends are at school. Girls I've known for like many, many years. So it's like I treat them as kind of like my family, like my second family almost. I go to school and that's my safe space where I am there.
Outside of clubs and friends, do you guys think that you have like a safe space with like the admin or like your teachers and things like that? I'm curious. And it's like, yeah.
I feel like for me, my ninth grade, it kind of started off a little rough. Like I was very, very like closed off. So I didn't really build any relationships for me to have like, I wasn't trying to create a safe space back then. I was just like, okay, let me just go through high school and, but now I think I'm starting to like, there's some teachers where I do feel comfortable and I'm starting to build a safe space and like a community with them.
Because sometimes it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
Especially in a new environment. What about you, Becca?
Yeah, I agree with what Jazz said. School is a safe space for me and I actually enjoy it besides all the work. And my friends are also a safe space for me as well.
I love that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Do you all think that your schools could take another step at making it feel more comfortable and safe for you?
I don't know. I feel like the adults, they do try their hardest to try to make it really, really comfortable for us. But I feel like a lot of us are kind of like pushed back. Like we don't really interact with each other that well. I know like me and my friend were talking or like the club culture at our school kind of, it's like not bad. Like we have clubs and they're very, very great, but not many people attend those clubs. And me and my friend are like, nobody attends the clubs. Like we want to be in clubs with other kids and meet other kids, but there's not many kids that are really interested in doing that. So it's less of on admin at our school. It's kind of just I guess student problem.
Yeah, like student culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the schools, they already do a lot for our school. Like there's already a lot of teachers and there's a lot of counselors and they like help us with like summer jobs and opportunities. So I agree. I feel like it's more on the students like to now do their part and like actually like be interested in the opportunities that are provided for them.
I like that. Next question.
Okay. What kind of people should you allow in your safe spaces?
Oh, that's good.
Because we were just talking about that too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people definitely having an impact. And you guys are bringing up friends. Would you consider friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What else?
I feel like just anyone that lets you be you and makes you feel comfortable.
Right,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, it can really be anyone that you have a connection with and you feel comfortable with. Like you can share with them. You can, I don't know, do whatever you like to do with them. Okay, for our next question we have, how do you learn to set comfortable boundaries in a safe space, especially when it's new for you?
I want to ask you, because it reminds me of you saying in ninth grade, it took you a little while, right? To like create your safe space. What were the thing, like what happened to make this space feel more comfortable for you?
It wasn't something that happened at school. It was just something that I dealt with within myself, because I used to deal with a lot of anxiety last year. And then over the summer, I kind of, especially with meeting you guys here at Start Strong for my first time, meeting new people, being introduced to new people on like, not a regular basis, but like I went to high school, I met new people. I can start strong. I met new people. I was getting more of that exposure of how to connect and speak with people. And I think that's what really pushed me to be more open, be more understanding, you know, gravitate towards people, have people gravitate towards me. It's not really something that I, like, around me didn't change. I personally changed.
Like your perspective on it. It sounds like like you were putting yourself out there in a sense of like trying new things, seeing what sticks, seeing who gravitated towards you, what you gravitated towards.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like in order to like set successful boundaries, you have to like not be afraid of judgment and like put yourself first. Like don't be afraid of what other people might say to you. And
That's huge. And I think that like saying, you know, like saying it because like that is what you need. Like that's the boundary that makes you feel comfortable. That's the boundary that makes you feel safe. Right. And for those who want to be a part of your safe space and your community, those boundaries are going to be like, okay, cool. Like Breckna doesn't like to be hugged. Copy. I'll give Breckna a high five. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or like Jazz might take a little bit more time getting comfortable in a new space. So if she's quiet, cool. You know what I'm saying? She's just taking things in. And I think that like how people are able to manage the boundaries you set really impact that too. I loved that. Do you guys have any important takeaways, I guess, for defining a safe space? Like what are some things you'd want people to keep when they are thinking about defining their safe spaces? Keep in mind, I guess.
If you are going to let people into your safe space, please make sure these people are like good for you, because I know there's a lot of people that I let into my safe space that like I can't get them out, and I don't know how to, because I don't want to be that mean person, because I let you here and I do love you and I appreciate you, but now that like we were talking about boundaries, my boundaries have been pushed. It's kind of like, okay, how can I express to you that this is like, I don't feel comfortable with you anymore. You're no longer my safe space. So like making sure, even in my situation, like I let little things build up. So what I'm trying to say is my like overall thing is when we see these little things that like, you're like, oh, I don't know if I really like that. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I don't want to bring that up, especially like people who are very shy on the shy side, like I am. It's really hard to bring those up. So I just want to make sure you keep your safe space, and don't let anyone like take that from you.
I love that. I hope you
Are
able to figure out navigating it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's an important note from that though, is to also give yourself grace sometimes, because it's like at one point that person was your safe space and now you're evolving, right? Like you're different, things are changing, you're learning what works for you and what doesn't. Right. And like that's okay too, for things to evolve and for you to be like, I kind of take that back.
Right. Especially now, like after I got into high school, things just completely changed. The way I like view things completely changed. So like people I was friends with in middle school, I'm just like, I don't really know if I want to associate with you anymore.
Yeah. Because it matters being around like like-minded people too. Like if you're not feeling like you're able to be yourself or you're able to grow or that y'all are on the same page, maybe it's a space to reevaluate. And not even that it has to no longer be a safe space. Like maybe things just have to change, So definitely just sending you good luck on that.
Thank you.
What about you, Breckna, if you could have one takeaway from it?
I think it's important to note that your safe space it differs from other people, and you shouldn't like try to compare and change in order to be like other people. And similar to what Jazz said,
right, like what makes you feel safe isn't what makes somebody else feel safe, and what like somebody else feels comfortable with doesn't necessarily mean that you have to feel comfortable with it either. And like not being afraid of that judgment too, kind of like you said before. I like that a lot. Let's introduce the second topic.
Our second topic is managing safe spaces. Not only is creating a safe space important, but it's just as important to know how to manage them and maintain them, because safe spaces can change over time and you should know how to keep your boundaries in check.
I like that. What's our first question?
The first question is, what steps can be taken if your safe space no longer feels safe for you?
What do y'all think? Have I ever been in a space where like it no longer felt safe? Mm-hmm. What were some things that you can think of that you did?
I can't think of a specific time, but I feel like if I were in a space that no longer felt safe, I would probably like advocate for myself and like even just leave or like just communicate what is bothering me instead of just staying quiet.
Mm-hmm. I like advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
That's always great. Communication is always great. Can be kind of hard, but
Yeah.
always sounds good. What about you, Jazz?
I was gonna say the same thing, just like leave, like explain why I felt this way. If there are people in my safe space, if there's not, that's where I'm thinking of like, what can you do?
Right. Because what if, like, you can't just leave, right? Like, what if it literally is a situation that is, like, when we think about our homes, right? Like, y'all are young people. Sometimes it's really hard to leave a unsafe space as a teen, right? So
Right.
what are some ways, if it's not leaving?
I feel like if it's actually I changed my answer, because if it's my safe space, I shouldn't have to leave. I feel like it's better to like remove the people from your safe space, or like let them know that like what you're doing is like making me uncomfortable, and just like communicating like what we said earlier.
I like that. Advocating for yourself, communicating that there is something that has been done or said that has made you feel uncomfortable, has made the space not feel safe no more, are really good actionable steps. And I think the last thing that I did want to add is like, if you aren't able to leave, or if like it's not an option of just immediately removing that person, it's always good to try to find like your support systems within those spaces, and like find someone to be able to lean on in case things get more rocky, right? Like if it's not as easy as I'm packing my bag and I'm leaving, or blocking you can never talk to me again. Like relying on those friends that you all were saying, because that can sometimes really help too. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the second question?
The second question is, can a specific person impact or create a safe space for you?
Yes to the first part, no to the second part. I feel like a safe space, like I don't think someone should create it for you, because I feel like that can lead to a lot of like unsafe things being into your quote unquote safe space if it's made by another person. And it can become like an unsafe space for you very, very fast, and it's not you, right? Unless this person's like in your head, like don't let them make your safe space. But there are certain people that can impact it. They can make certain people that you bring into your safe space that can better your safe space or make your safe space worse. It depends on the situation.
Yeah, I agree. People can impact your safe space, but they can't create it for you, because other people won't like know what you're comfortable with. Only you know what you want. So no one can really create a safe space for you. But similar to what Jazz said, people that are in your safe space, they definitely can impact you.
I like that. Next question.
Next question is, how do you go about removing someone from your safe space?
Right. We was kind of just talking about that. What are like the actual actionable steps?
Okay, first, I feel like pointing out their actions or what they're doing, like keeping track of what they're doing. But if it gets like repetitive, like pull them aside and like talk to them, or like, oh, I noticed that you keep doing this and I don't like it. So like, can you like please stop? Or like just talk to them.
Yeah.
I like pulling them aside.
Yeah, I feel like talking in front of everyone is just too much.
That's just I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine when like you have a problem with someone, you like address it to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do that? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes no one like you're putting them on blast. It's not going to make anyone.
It makes them feel unsafe.
Telling
Like, it's
everyone
supposed to be safe
business.
space.
Exactly. I like that a lot. Anything else outside of that? I like that.
I feel like Becca, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, when in a bad situation, where is your safe space?
Yeah. What are y'all safe spaces? If you want to share, do you have one?
I
Okay.
was gonna say that too.
I love my room. Yeah, I like to just sit in my room and like read. That's like where I'm most calm. I feel the best.
Have you read any like new books lately?
I have. I read one new book. There was a point where I like read like 10 books and then I just stopped for like a month because school had like taken up everything, so I couldn't read. But then I just finished a book yesterday or day before yesterday.
I love it. What's it called? Just
November 9 by Colleen Hoover.
she is sleeping the YA novel
but
scene.
I don't know if I like her.
Very valid. Very valid.
I feel like she's a little bit overhyped, but that's not the point. That's not the point here.
I like it. What about you? You emphasize the room, so and I relate to that.
I like my room too, but I don't read. Instead, I like to just like sleep and like watch TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and just talk to my friends.
Yes, I relate. My room is my safe space too. So like, let me not fret. It's really something about like creating. Like your room is an extension of you, right? Like it has all the things you like. It's cozy the way you like it. People not gonna enter. I mean, it depends where you're at and your house rules, but like people gotta knock before they enter. I like that. I like that a lot. Do you have any outside space? Like, is there? I know you said do you go to the library or is it school?
Both.
Library is a safe space?
Yeah, I like the library. I think the people at the library like me too. I hope so.
The libraries are good. Anything other than your room you can think of?
I was gonna say my school, in a way.
Yeah.
Very, very valid.
Okay. Next question: how do you know when an adjustment needs to be made in your safe space?
When you see things that you don't like, it's your safe space. If you don't like it, an adjustment needs to be made to comfort you. Like,
I agree. I feel like just if something's bothering you or something, just you don't like, similar to what Jazz said. So
It's just that simple.
yeah, literally.
I love that. Because, right, like that's your safe space. And it's supposed to make you feel comfortable and like taken care of.
I feel like I treat my safe space like my birthday. Like, this is mine. Please.
I like that. You like your birthday. Because you have a lot of ownership. Like, that is literally your day. And with your safe spaces, that is your safe space. I like that a lot. Do you have another question? And I think we might have kind of talked about this too, but like, what brings, like,
I feel like maybe it's saying that what makes you want to go to your safe space. Or
exactly. Like
rely on it.
Exactly. Like a guarantee. What are you thinking?
I need to.
What can help make it reliable? So, like, why do you rely on your space? Or, like, what makes you rely on it? I feel like if you're in, like, a situation where you feel uncomfortable or you've been, like, mistreated or hurt, then you always go back to your safe place because that's where you feel the most safe and comfortable.
Yeah. Like, like, when something goes wrong, you can go there.
But I'm thinking of, like, I was going to bring up this, like, what if instances where you're not, like, where your safe space is. Like, say if I'm, like, out somewhere and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I guess I could just go home, huh?
But right, like what?
I guess like you could be like, oh, in like my school, like I learned to put yourself first. And then when you're in a situation where you feel mistreated, you can rely on your school to be like, oh, like, let me put myself first in this situation.
I like that. That makes sense. I have like some bonus questions real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are I think there's 6. Pick one number 1 through 6. 3? What's your number?
4.
3 or 4. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is really good. So, what role does our culture play in this dynamic, like of creating a safe space? What role does culture play?
My personal culture.
Or like anyone's personal culture play when creating safe spaces?
Oh.
Does it? Is this
Do you think it does? Yeah.
I don't think it does. Your safe space does not have to relate to your culture. It can be like something totally unrelated, like a club of a sport you like. It does not have to relate to your culture, I feel like. But your culture can help make it feel safer.
It got me thinking about like your
Asian club.
exactly. Asian club, like like it's a safe space that is centered around your culture, right?
But it doesn't
and
have to be.
But it doesn't have to be. But it is a space that you're in.
Yeah.
So it kind of does play a role in it.
Can you read the question again? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. What role does our culture play in this dynamic of creating safe spaces?
I feel like I've noticed a lot with like my group. A lot of kids of the same culture like create safe spaces, and I think that's great. Like, right on, guys. I don't know. Like, that's just something I noticed. Like when I'm at school or something. Like there's people become friends just because they have the same culture, and I think that's like beautiful. Like you guys have this shared experience, and that's really, really nice.
But then I feel like there's a but. Were you gonna say a but? What? What is it? What do you think?
I don't. But I feel like basing your safe spaces off of that can lead to like an unsafe space or unsafe or instances that you might say are unsafe. But I think it depends. Like your comfortability with the person, like it depends on the situation. I think if you're friends with someone just because they share the same culture with you, I mean, I guess, and you don't really know anything else about this person, I guess that's where things can like hit, you know? But I feel like if you take the right steps in ensuring this is a good person and this person has pure intent, then no, it's fine. You know?
Because I feel like what I'm hearing is like, it's not the only identity, I guess, or like the only thing that you can build a safe space or like the culture of creating a safe space around. Like just because I identify as black, do you identify as black?
Yes.
Like just because we're 2 black girls doesn't mean that like automatically we're locked in.
Right.
Granted, I'm locked in with you, Jazz.
We're locked in.
We're locked in, right? But like that's not the only basis. It's really, and I feel like that's kind of what you guys are talking about. Like even with your Asian org, right? No, what's it called?
Yes, yes.
Is it
Asian
that?
Culture Club.
Asian Culture Club. Thank you. No, I want to say the right thing. Asian Culture Club. Like it's not like Asia's huge, right? Like there are many different kinds of Asian cultures within that, and it's not just one. And it'll be like remiss for you to be like, no, I'm only gonna talk to the person in the Asian Culture Club that explicitly identifies as exactly what I identify as. Like it can limit you, I think is also kind of what I'm hearing too.
Yeah.
Maybe. Not that it isn't good to still form camaraderie in like safety with folks who feel familiar, like, and who feel comfortable and like home.
I feel like
which
that's
is
like
sometimes
super important.
Yes.
Like especially for me, I think I grew up pretty in a diverse area. So let me stop talking. Go ahead.
But like some like yeah, I just relate to that because sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does.
Yeah.
What role do you all think that media plays into like the creation of safe spaces?
Something popped in my head, but it's like not really answering your question.
What's popping into your head?
Like I feel like a lot on TikTok I see like groups of people, just like random groups of like teenagers, and they like have this like type of culture, like teenager culture thing, and like I feel like a lot of kids chase that. They like, we're kids, we're gonna chase whatever is on the media trends or whatever, we're gonna follow them. There's lots of trends of people who have these really large friend groups, and they're always posting their friend groups and like, oh guys, this is so fun, you know. And I feel like a lot of younger kids, like they try and go get that, and then they go into these like bad friend groups that like aren't benefiting them in any way, like whatever, and it's not a safe space at all, but they think it is because that's what the media showed me, you know.
Yeah, I feel like social media does not do a good job at like promoting safe spaces, but I think instead they do the opposite of like dismissing mental health, because I feel like a lot of times people on TikTok, like they would make like jokes about like mental health and like depression, like anxiety. Like I don't think they take it seriously as much, which is why it like limits safe spaces.
Because it like, on that point, it alienates, right? Like, or others, folks who are dealing with like mental health issues, or like figuring out a way of navigating, right, their mental health. And then I like the point that you made, Jazz, around like sometimes like a trend starts and it like it's cool, it's like with your friends, it brings you together, but then it takes a life of its own, right? And like it's hard to emulate that thing, I guess, is kind of what I got from that. And also sometimes people just want to follow things to maybe form a sense of a safe space or community, but it might not be what's best for them.
Yeah, even like I know when I was younger, like 13, 14, early teens, I was definitely like chasing that like very fun friend group vibe. Like I wanted to be like in the hype house so bad. Like I don't know what it was, like, but like, and it got me into so many bad situations, especially in 8th grade. Like, oh god.
Dang, yeah. But right, like it's something that you love and you're like, yeah, I want to do, but then it's like, maybe
Shouldn't have done none of that, and I
maybe
take
it
it
won't
back.
be for you. Maybe it won't be for you. I like that. And then we're wrapping up, but I want to ask one more question. I know we talked about culture, I guess, but I want to add this. And how does our definition of safe space change with our identities? How does our definition of safe space change with our identities? Do you think it changes with your identities?
No, I don't get how it would change.
Can you
'cause-
expand?
Yeah. Me or
Yeah, because I don't.
No, you.
that was just the question.
I don't
That
think I
literally
understand
was
the
just
question.
You said no, so I'm curious. Keep going.
Let me hear your answer first.
I think what you're trying to say is like, can the way like I identify myself, can that change my definition of safe space compared to like how you would define a safe space? And I said no, because like the definition of a safe space doesn't change. It's just what's inside the safe space that changes.
I like that a lot. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. You feeling that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I like that. I'm just curious. Because it's like, and I think we kind of talked about it in a safe space being literally a space where you can be yourself, be comfortable, and all of those things. And in a space where you can do that, your identities are included and they matter. So I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, real quick, before we close, any golden nuggets for managing your safe spaces? Anything we want folks to keep in
takeaways?
mind? Yeah.
Okay. I feel like just knowing that it's okay to like take people out of your safe space and like address the problems inside or anything that's making you uncomfortable.
Oh, that's kind of what you said earlier, too.
Yeah, and I also feel like finding yourself before you go and find a safe space.
I like that. You guys are so deep. All right, I'm going to pass it off to you, Bracken, to close us out.
Thank you for listening and look out for the next episode of the Real Love, Real Talk podcast. As always, check out our show notes for ways to stay in touch with us. Like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you might be joining us, and visit us at startstrongboston.org for more tools and resources.